Do you remember this? All makes sense to you? It's a chart. It's to give you an idea. Okay? For some of you, it's been 6 months. I'm going to review it. Everything comes from a creator. Everything that comes from it is a creator. And the interaction between the two is the interaction. And we'll call this Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Heye, Hiye, Yahweh. Ah, yeah. Hi.
Sorry, King Nate.
It's okay. Take your time. This is a revision. You going to be comfortable? Yes? All right. This is what the world is made of. Okay, it's a chart of frequency or levels of consciousness. Each of these levels are not separated. Okay? And if you don't remember by heart or just in your mind all this, it doesn't matter. Okay? It just means that the highest point in the universe is creator force, and the lowest point is physical matter. Okay? Physical matter is the densest experience, and the creator mindset is the highest level of experience. Okay? So you don't have to take this in note because it's been reviewed, it's on other view, and you're going to have time to copy it later on. Okay? We're just using this because it's notes from Pastor Maha to put you back in the mindset. Okay? So some people will say there's a Father who created everything, the Christ who is everything created, and the Holy Ghost, which is the interaction between the two. Others will say, no, I'm right. There's Brahma, the creator of all things. There's Vishnu, everything created. And there's Shiva, the interaction force in the universe. And other people will say there's energy from which everything comes, creator process. There's mass, which is everything created. And light and frequency and movement is the interaction force. So you have E equals mc squared. Okay? But it's still people looking at the universe, trying to find the truth. And they all end up saying, well, there's a creator, there's something created, and there's something moving in there. Interaction, okay? But everyone, I've always been speaking about the same things, okay, with different words. Okay? We have a dictionary that says this is the truth, and we use words. But the truth is not words. The truth is experience. Okay? What we experience is the most important part. Okay? So, do you remember what you are? Self. Okay? Breathe. And I like to play this little mind trick. I will play it again. Susie. Is this your name?
No.
Okay, so your name is Susie. I was confused for a moment. You're going to throw me off. Okay, Corey. What's your name?
Corey.
Okay. Both of you girls have been called Roberta or Enrique. Would you stop to exist? Okay, so if Richella would have been named Vanessa, would she still exist? Yes, because Richella is not what you are. Okay? Susie is not what you are. Corey is not what you are. Your name is a reference. Okay? Remember yourself that. I'm just taking this. So, right now you prefer chocolate or pistache or strawberry. But if you would prefer something else, would you stop to exist? No. It is your human identity that has preferences, that lives at this place. Your soul does not live on 20-something that street of this city. No, your soul exists. Your body usually sleeps in a place that you use to define with numbers and street names. Of course, because you want to find your way to go home and sleep. But that's not you. Okay? There's a whole lot of stuff you put in your identity that is not what you are. It's what you have. Okay? It's in your human. Now you breathe. First thing first. We'll relax the hands on the lap, very relaxed. Those who know meditation, do the mudra you want, doesn't matter. And breathe, and you will focus on the breath. Be conscious that you are breathing. Good, now open your eyes. What's your name again?
John.
John. Did you notice, John, that you were breathing? Okay, so you noticed that. So not only were you breathing, but you were also conscious that you were breathing. Is that right? All right, close your eyes, everyone. Breathe. And pay attention to the fact that you are conscious that you are breathing. There is breath. There is also consciousness of the breath. Be aware that you are aware. One deep breath. And come back here. Okay. I just wanted to stimulate again self-awareness, like we learned. We learned a lot of stuff, of course, all simple. There is the action, there is awareness of the action. Martial artists here, we have a few, they go into the martial arts and they go into the consciousness, paying attention to the fact that they are doing martial arts. You have the healers transmitting energy. They are aware of the energy, but they're also aware that they're conscious while the energy flows. Okay? There's the event and the consciousness of it. Okay? To remind you of self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is the key point, it's the foundation of correct meditation, correct concentration. It is to stay aware while you do something. Oh, I'm driving my car, and I'm also aware that I'm driving my car. Okay? But when you do this with too much concentration, you're splitting your concentration between driving and being aware that you're driving. So of course when you drive, you drop the mindset and you just focus on driving. So you stay there. It's not meditation. But when you meditate, or when you just cut vegetables, or when you just do something that is safe, like you're not using a jackhammer next to your step brother. You are in a position where you will not hurt anyone. Become aware of the event that you're doing. Self-conscious breathing. I'm breathing. I'm present while I'm cooking. I'm here. I'm feeling. There's nothing to feel, but I'm feeling anyway. I'm observing myself. I don't see anything else than just cooking, but I'm observing. Stay conscious. Okay? Self-awareness. It's very good. Breathe. All right? All this will get back. Okay? Oh, we can resume this. There's a human. The human does things. He drives, he cooks, uses a jackhammer. The human does that. The self, or the soul, is conscious of what the human is doing. Okay? And the divine self, the Buddhists will say there is no God, doesn't matter. According to their dictionary, there's no God, there's a supreme consciousness in everything. Okay, what is God? Well, it's somewhere, something conscious, intelligent, everything. That's it. You've got a Buddhist God. Same thing. Okay? Words, different words. Okay? Even the Buddha did never say there's no God. He just abstained from referring to it. Instead, he played word games with the people to confuse their minds. So, the God self, which is, there's only one God in all things, that starts to refine and individualize at the level of a soul. So this is where you go from oneness to individuality. And from there you embody into a human that will die. Do we agree with that? Most of the time. Humans die eventually. Not always. Well, if you never saw that before, it might be astonishing. But some humans don't die. But yet, they're not here. It's not through death that it occurs, okay? This is self-realization. It is rare, but it happened to a few dudes. Remember, if you pay attention to your soul will pay attention to God. Okay? So, Supreme Consciousness is everything. That is you. A for Atma, self. Okay. You are a coordinate on the map. Remember that? I think I gave this teaching a while ago, Amerigo. So you're a coordinate. The coordinate is not separate from the map. The coordinate, the Atma, says, I will focus here. I will do this experience. Okay? And when you are a point, you have an angle, a perception. And the wider this angle is, the better is your perception. Okay? Now imagine, instead of being a two-dimensional map, it has another dimension, 3D, 3-dimension, and this is not an XY coordinate, it's an XYZ coordinate. It's a 3-digit coordinate in space. So its perception is not an angle, it's a cone. Okay? You'll rewatch this video, so if you didn't take everything in note, it's okay. Right? This is revision. What you are is a coordinate that never left the map. Okay? The soul said, as one God, I will focus here. And you become individuality. In the soul, there was never the thought that I am not the map. There was the thought, I am here. And when the ego manifests on this, the ego says, I am nothing else than what I am here. Okay? So it's in the ego that we are not in the experience of oneness. In the soul, it's obvious. How could it be anything else than one? So this is why we wish to refine our human experience to gain wisdom. So did you ever try to explain something very intellectual to someone who didn't give a shit about what you were saying? And they don't understand? Okay. Most teachings, until there is a suffering, there will not be the need to grow out of it. Okay? So until there is an experience to support knowledge, some knowledge will seem to be very useless. Okay? And I'm not talking about necessarily quantum physics and rocket science and how to cook good eggs. I'm talking about the wisdom that brings a better life. Okay? Until you have an experience that pushes you to learn, you won't be motivated. Okay? You've experienced this yourself. Do you see that a lot of people around you also have this experience? You try to convince other people they should do this and do that, their life will become better, and they don't give a shit. So what's the solution? There are two solutions. First solution is, while they don't have the required suffering to understand the importance of your wisdom, don't bug them with it. Let them be. Second solution, create suffering in their life so they'll understand you, then you go to jail, and I mean, no, it's not a good solution. Okay? So because you do this, oh yeah, subtly you try to even hide it, but sometimes in your ego you will create a little suffering to someone so that they'll understand your point of view. You know, tease someone, little 6-inch in the ribs. You know, yeah, we have these little ways. Just look at the people behave in an office environment. Okay. Don't create suffering in other people's life. Okay? Experience is essential to grow and to make a next step. Take care of your experience. Okay? Okay, why do we need to suffer again? Well, we'll speak about this tomorrow, speaking of the Four Noble Truths. But I'm going to resume it, in case you forgot since 2 months ago. In life, there is, amongst other things, there is suffering. Eventually, it comes. It is unavoidable. Okay? You have a lot of beautiful, wonderful hippie New Age theory saying you can live without suffering if you endorse this book, pay this amount, or whatever, eat the red pill. There's a way to live without suffering, and the way out of suffering is the way in to suffering. Okay? Because the very noble teachers of humanity, such as, let's say, Buddha, said there is suffering. Until you accept this, you will not accept the other truths, the fourth of which is there is no suffering. Okay? Fourth noble truth is there is no suffering. First noble truth is there is suffering. Until you're done with the first one, you don't get to the fourth one where there's no suffering, there's only experience. Okay? So you have to get into this mindset to accept. And I'm talking mostly of the class tonight because we're going to have fun speaking of demons and ghosts and exorcisms and stuff like that. Okay? If you are ashamed of something, you isolate yourself. You're not conscious of the map. You just see the point. Okay? If you're afraid of something, same thing will happen. If you're too proud, you're cranking up your ego, you'll ignore your the map. You'll still focus on your little point. Oh, poor me, or oh, great me, or wonderful me, or I stink, I know, but go to hell. But it'll be about me. Me. Okay? So the three denials are, if you remember well, fear, shame, and pride. Fear, shame, and pride are the three ways we deny. I wish to remind you, I won't speak of the 21 masks of ego and this and that. I'll just mention this. Fear, shame, and pride. Densifies your energy. It isolates you. It's fun when we speak of the ego, but now that we're speaking about consciousness, conscious planes, levels of awareness, it's fun to know about this stuff. So far, we're just getting in the matter. I'm just reawakening the knowledge and the experiences that are required to understand the remaining of the class tonight. Okay? Conscious of yourself, we breathe. Okay? We did this, we're going to do it again right now. Breathe. You can leave your notes there. It doesn't matter. We're going to breathe for 2 minutes. Okay? Breathe. Self-awareness. There is the breath. There is awareness of the breath. And there is awareness of the awareness. Ah, I'm conscious. What a wonderful feeling. I am actually aware. I like it. Yeah, we can be a bit playful. It's okay. That's it. So simple. Self-awareness. Every meditation technique leads you there, but most meditation techniques are about shutting down the mind and forcing yourself not to think, which is impossible. Okay? You don't force yourself to stop thinking. You just stop thinking when it happens. When you get the experience, do it. But you can't force yourself not to think. So you say, well, I'm trying to meditate, but I'm thinking and it's so hard. Well, you're just not meditating properly. The appropriate way to meditate is to sit and be conscious. And if your mind is running crazy, it's not important. It doesn't matter. Relax. Eventually your mind will calm down. But there's nothing bad in having a wild mind. while the energy is there, sit and meditate. It's not sit and don't exist, it's sit and meditate. Don't stop thinking while your mind has this energy to let go. Okay, it'll be too difficult on you to say, I can't meditate. Of course you can't meditate, you simply cannot stop thinking like any normal human. Okay? And when you get the experience of self-awareness, your mind will settle slowly. Okay? If you concentrate on not thinking, your mind is doing something, you're concentrating. Okay, so meditation is not concentration. It is absence of concentration. You're not putting energy into trying to stop thinking or to think of a specific thing. Meditation, to still the mind, is absence of mental activity. So your first mental activity must not to be in a state of effort to stop yourself. Like having one foot on the gas and one on brake and turning around like this. No, that's too hard. You'll burn yourself. Okay? Just no foot on the gas, no foot on the brakes, no hands on the wheel. But don't do this with your real car. It doesn't work that way. All right? That was easy. I'm just trying to remind you, relax. Take it cool. Can't stop thinking? Well, don't. The only thing you have to be careful of is not willingly nourish a fantasy that your mind is producing. You know, we have these thinking in the mind, and then your mind will select one track. Oh, this DVD seems fun. Puts it on, and you start watching it. Okay? So you start following one of your mind fabrications. Okay, I'm trying to just relax and not have these stop. Yet, without putting the effort to try to stop your mind. So it's really difficult to grasp, because you must not be implicated in your mind. But your mind just wants to follow its dream. It wants to keep on moving in its track. So you breathe, self-awareness. I'm going to pay attention to my breath. I'm also going to stay aware that I'm breathing. Does it make sense? Okay. The more you practice yourself at dominating nature, the more you'll have power dominating nature outside of you. Okay. So I have these people asking, how do you deal with negative energies? Well, you first need to understand where they come from and how you allow them to have power over you. Okay? Alrighty then. the middle is nature, the physical world. But it's not just nature, the physical world. Let's say also and the mind. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. In the natural world, there's physical matter, but there's also a realm of mind. Mind comprises intellect and emotion. Okay? And physical comprises physical and vital, like the chi level. Okay? We could say physical is matter and tangible energies, where mind is emotion and thoughts. Okay? There are different ways to put it. Okay? But this is nature. Remember the creator stuff? From void, nothingness, absolute silence, stemmed events and creation. Okay? That densified and densified and densified until it became nature. And then nature was switched on. In the sense, it's a metaphor. Okay? Nature was allowed to experiment. Not so long ago, humans gained the capacity to philosophize. Intelligent animals that could communicate gained the ability to have philosophy, conceptualize abstract realities, where even a chimpanzee does not have a god or think about its origins. Men and women, of course, humans, to be correct, started to conceive that they could do whatever they want with their mind, starting to experiment with their mind. Some of them gained the ability to become angry and use this mostly to try to become more powerful or experiment in gaining more wealth, attention, power, okay? And it did not create happiness for others. So because they created suffering, they intensified, created hell. Okay? Hell is when there is only suffering. And mostly hell is when you are completely tied. Okay? How do we go to hell? Fear, shame, pride. The more we harden our shell of I am not a part of the map. I, me. Egocentrism. The more the shell separates us from universal consciousness, the denser we go. And the emotional level. Okay? Someone has to be extremely implicated in causes of suffering. I won't say evil. It's not good and evil. It's creating happiness or creating suffering. Someone that creates a whole lot of suffering for himself or others, it doesn't matter. Himself or others, it doesn't matter. Someone creates a lot of suffering. Someone who was just in sorrow, never bothered anyone, but just sank in sorrow and sorrow and sorrow and died in this state, is going to hell. Because he created suffering, even only for themselves. But he was a good man, he was compassionate. Well, if a person is doing good things just hoping to be loved by others, convinced that they are the most worthless thing, they're not compassionate. They're just trying to buy your love, and they're egocentrically not understanding the experience, and they go to hell. But this is extremely rare, extremely rare. People in depression, they don't go to hell. No way. You need someone to create a great negative evil force. Okay? Usually we're about this. Okay? Very middle range. Okay? Don't worry about that. We could say Hitler created a whole lot of suffering for personal ambitions. Okay? Genghis Khan, who did not go to hell, Genghis Khan, by the way, but had a few troubles facing his lifetimes afterwards, probably, if I remember right. But Hitler went to hell. I mean, I could draw you a map, you would get it anyway. But hell is not a physical place. You understood this. And heaven is not a physical place. It's everything here is exactly at the same place. So this is not heavens that we point up and hell that we point down. No. Everything here has all frequencies. Okay? At every level. Okay? So this is 1 to 10 of the first chart we saw. Divine, self, and human. Okay? This is 1 to 10. Then -9, -8, -8, and we go into negative until we get to -1. Instead of creator, it's complete abolition of identity, and then oblivion. So an energy, a consciousness, either someone, an animal, a demon, whatever. We'll speak of demons and ghosts and whatever afterwards. But whatever densified itself to the point of the utmost suffering at the utmost denial, packed up in either fear, shame, or pride, and ceased to exist. And then you have a soul extinguished. Goes back to void. Will radiate from heaven. Create wonderful things. Okay? Loops. No worry. So the most wonderful light came from the void and created all things and humans and men and angels, and then people screwed up and started to create these manifestations of suffering for themselves. Agglomerated emotional mass turned into demon and went denser and denser into denying even their own existence, if not only the existence of self and God, to the point that they would abolish their own conception of themselves, got into the oblivion of absolute nothingness, from which then the wonderful light of the, and we go on like this. Okay? So there's nothing that evil in oblivion. Don't go there. Okay? If the cycle goes that way, okay, stuff that comes here, experiences, go down, and then high and down, and high in experiment, and then we bring consciousness in the original void. Now God evolves when one of us takes his consciousness and go back up. Okay? The one God evolves. One taking all its experiences and to a state of great enlightenment, goes beyond enlightenment into self-realization, and reunites, dissolves all about identity, individuality, and dissolves into the oneness. The oneness grew. This is why we come here as individual points to find out. Okay? Make sense? Dogs and cats and birds and bees don't have the power to create very dense emotional agglomeration. Okay? They will fight to survive, but the moment the fight is over, it's forgiven. Okay? They're not in hatred. They're just defensive, hoping it won't start over again. Okay? But we humans, we learn how to compact an emotion and isolate it even from us, because we have the experience of denial. We denied unity, and we understand it, even though we're not aware. We understand at some point our ego is conscious there was isolation from oneness that birthed our soul as a human. And rarely some elephants and dolphins were evolved, but mostly humans. They have these big whales also, are conscious. Anyway, we learn how to, through the experience of isolation, we can even isolate ourselves and create anger. And then emotions of anger, many people will just, by similarity, by harmony, unison will just attract itself, agglomerate, and pack up. And these emotions issued from a great deal of people, but they vibe at the same level of frequency. They're same type of emotion. They get together and agglomerate. And since these emotions were born from consciousness, this agglomeration will start to have self-consciousness. You got a little devil here. Okay? Succubus or incubus or different levels. I don't want to go into that, okay? But you have a little negative energy. Oh, the stuff you don't like. You want to avoid? So what happened? It's not a full-blown demon. Full-blown demon is something else, okay? But you have these little demons, demonic forces, small devils, okay, that will find a new body. Why? Because it was born from conscious self embodied. It was humans with a body that created this excess of, let's say, anger. It produced a little ball of anger that became aware of itself and now seeks a body because this is what it's meant for. We made them. Okay? The more people or mammals are evolved, the more of these negative energies happen. Because in nature, with no humans interacting, with no self-conscious being acting, you won't find a demon. You look at the wolves and the rabbits going on, they don't have these exorcism rituals and needs to tell their story to their husband when they come home. I mean, they're just, when's the next meal? Very basic, you know? And you see that in nature, if everything is left as it is, everything balances itself out. Because they just, it's okay, it's waiting in nature. But we, conscious, have the ability to vibrate at a higher level and to vibrate at a lower level. So sometimes you will have these energies, okay, that stem from humans alive, condenses and becomes self-aware. Okay. I'm going to make a parenthesis here. Before I started telling you this, the phenomena existed and you probably just didn't care. So don't think that you're going to start to see ghosts because we're speaking of it. Okay? I mean, this stuff existed. You're not going to become aware of anything you don't want to unless you become so afraid, and fear will be the denial that will push you into, okay, do you understand? Just stay at peace. The goal is to understand and try to gain an awareness on how to not do this again. Okay, not condense negativity. There are other types of phenomena. Someone's alive. Speaking of people who go to hell. Want to know why people go to hell or heaven or purgatory? Okay. I guess, yeah, it's fun. It's science. It's very objective. Heaven shines down great rays of light. Happy rays of light. This great experience of bliss and gladness is not light as we see it. Okay? We say light because we mean high frequency as opposed to brrrr on the side of the road, which is low frequency. Okay? I tried to make a joke here, but everyone thought it was okay. So, light shines. We are normally in the normal range of frequency in nature. Okay? And we have just a layer of protection against the wonderful, blissful light. A layer made of just a bit of fear, just a bit of denial, and just a bit of pride. I am important. Or shame, I am not important. Or fear, I hope they won't notice I'm not important. Or fear, I'm afraid to get my ass kicked tomorrow. Anyway, or not to have food. Okay, fear of different levels, shame different level, pride different level. We just have a normal human ego. We're okay, we're safe. Safe zone, everything's fine. When we die, we'll go normal human. There is death. I'm trying to make something a bit like okay. We die, we're normal. Our physical body decays. Then the energy body decays afterwards. We can see this. While there is still an energy body in the physical body, cells keep operating. The proof is the hair grows, the nail grows. The cell, each by themselves, keep functioning. It is the human body as a whole, as a functioning system that is interrupted because one link of the chain is broken. Okay? You need to break one link of a functional human then the physical body starts to decay, and only after the life body starts to decay, and afterwards the emotional body decays, and afterwards the mental body decays, and when the mental body is decayed, we're kind of exposed to the great blissful light and go up. And it's over. But it kind of never or rarely happens. What happens is our physical body decays, vital body, emotional, and then the mental, and the point where the individuality, the ego, would disappear. The light is shining bright, and the ego starts, well, in fact, it's the soul that finds it very difficult. The light is too bright. It tries to just hide. Okay? This is the shame, the pride, the fear that makes us try to avoid this extreme light. It's not light, it's extreme frequency of consciousness that just burns away the densities, physical, emotional, mental, burns away everything one plane at a time. So we try to hide. So what we'll do is, whoa, oh, starting to be too hard, let's find a new shelter. Pop. Baby. We found a new way to hide from absolute truth. Okay? Which is good. This is how it is meant. So we die and we are reborn. Let's try to make this baby wrap into a little cloth. Oh boy. We're back in nature. And from there we'll keep hovering and we'll keep doing this. And we'll keep hopping until we are refined enough that when supreme consciousness comes, we'll just go and we'll jump. Okay? When there will be more faith than there is fear. When there will be more compassion than shame. When there will be more humility than pride. We'll just go. Alright? Someone is a very negative human, dies, bleh. Light shines from above. It would love to find a new host. Like, we're here, good guy, dies. Oh no! Goes up, oh, goes down, I'm safe now. I have a new experience to discover what does not allow me to know myself as oneness with God. This guy dies. The light is so dense, starts to go down. The carapace is so powerfully strong, it is just pushed away by the higher frequencies, just flies away. And it cannot go back to nature. Because light pushes down. This divine light pushes down. In fact, the light doesn't push. It's our ego carapace. Does carapace mean something in English?
Shell.
Shell? Shell? Okay, carapace is a good word, but shell is better. Our human ego shell, the problem is not with the divine light pushing us down, it's with the human shell resisting against divine light. So we go down, we go, whoa, back in nature. But now we die here, whoa, and this light is still shining. This divine, beautiful, wonderful light is still shining. Who do you think pays the bills in hell? It's God. Who pays for the gas for all this fire? It's Dad. Okay? We have a whole lot of stories like this of the combat between good forces and evil forces, and forces thrown away from heaven to go into earth, but some were too angry, went to hell. Okay. It's a nice story because they try to explain with words what is very difficult to conceive. But now we've learned about frequency and density of matter and stuff like that, so we can expand and try to give another metaphor, which is somewhat accurate if you understand the basic physics of non-physics as God that I'm trying to say. So this light shines down, and we can't hide it here if we're too dense. So we go there, and it'll be a whole lot of time in these regions, hiding away. Slowly, this light is still acting on the shell, dissolving it. And when a very evil and dense shell is dissolved enough, it will be lighter and will go back in nature, born as someone with a shitload of karma. So you can resolve your issues. Okay. Does it make sense? Do you understand? It's not two powers opposing each other. As in one guy in hell, Lucifer, Satan, whatever, and one guy in heaven fighting for the souls here. No. It's a natural force. It's just a natural force. The more you have denial, the more this energy shines on you, and you're naturally pushed away through the simple law of density. You're denser, you go deeper in shit. Okay? You're lighter, you go float off. Like when you open a peanut butter pot that is very genuine and have the oil, density, behave in certain ways. That's all there is. Some people go so down, they just go into oblivion before the outer shell is dissolved. It's rare for a human being to go to hell. It's so rare that a soul goes into oblivion. It is extremely, extremely rare. Okay? So don't worry about it. They say hell is forever. No. It's for such a long time that, I mean, it's forever. No, it's an expression. Okay? What is purgatory? It's here. While you were out of your human shells, there's just one, but let's say there's many, physical, vital, emotional, mental shells, you were affected by the holy light, and it was purifying you, but a hard walk. Like very strange. And we say purgatory is just a moment, okay, before you find another shelter. Okay. And usually if you're roaming in this is cool enough. Okay? But if you're here and die, it's, well, see you soon. Maybe. Well, you'll get it. It's like a big hangover. You're just gonna get it through. And it's difficult and be completely conscious of your suffering. Okay. So, now we understand better positive, negative energies. It's not positive here, negative there. Okay? That is an illusion. The polarity thing. Okay? It's just, here is high frequency, and there is nature type frequency. It's not frequency of electricity, it's frequency of consciousness. And there is very low frequency. Okay? But divine light shines through all of creation at every level, everywhere, always. And this chart is here. Okay? We have this here. We perceive nature, it goes on here, but still all this exists. Okay? All right? Makes sense? So when you go into a shopping mall like this one, and you feel there is negativity, okay? Well, first you have to ask yourself, the negative energies in a shopping mall, where do they come from? I'm doing this for Richard. He had questions, so I'm answering. Where do they come from? Anger? I mean, which human experience gave birth to the negative energy in a shopping mall? Is it anger? Anxiety? Attachment to material things? Oh, we might get one. I think I fished a big one. Attachment to material things. Oh, this is a density. Attachment to material things is also denying the spiritual things. Okay? So it's a denial. It's a pride. Okay? The more we are attached to material things, I mean, demons that are created from attachment to material things are not as bad as demons created from pure hatred. Okay? The genocide type demons? Whoa, don't try to exorcise those. Not yet.
What kind?
The genocide type demons.
What's that?
When an entire population of 100 million people die.
Oh.
Don't face these kind of dudes ever. I would, let them, light will shine, they'll dissolve. Okay? Until they dissolve, they operate consciously. Okay? And we have names for them and this and that. We don't speak about names. Here we'll speak of experiences. So you want to purify energies in a shopping mall. This is perfect because it's wonderful. We found a place with conditioned air conditioning, you say in English? Yeah. That was cheap. They could gather enough people, so we did it here. There was a time I actually did a seminar with 10, 12 people in a machinery room. So if you hear the conditioning working, you hear the fan sometimes. We were actually on a concrete floor sitting next to the machines that were pushing the cold air in the rest of the building for 2 days. And everybody got an experience of bliss, except one. Why? Because we did not allow it to affect us. We faced it. So what's disturbing you? One, so this machinery room is not one with God? Everything is one but not that? Remember this joke with Brian's asshole? It was nice. Oh, it was just a joke. I'm going to tell it again. He said, I'm conscious of oneness. I'm conscious of this wall. I'm conscious. I accept myself as I am. I know I'm happy. I know I'm a saint. I know I'm an asshole. I'm his asshole. And everybody reacted and said, what? We're one but not that? So that wasn't right. Nice reminder. You remember? That was funny. I like it. I'm trying to lighten up the atmosphere now. I'm waiting, just like, whoa, stop teaching. Let my mind absorb. So I'm just throwing random things to entertain your mind. I could dance a polka, but I don't know how to dance a polka. Let's try it. So, all right, you getting this? Speaking of conditioned air conditioning, is it me or is it hot here? And could we use a bit of, or did they just turn down the entire area? We'll resolve it after the break. Okay, thank you very much for saying. Great. I need to just let your minds absorb this. It doesn't seem very complicated, but we've been speaking of ego and ourselves and emotions and experience, and sometimes we just need, well, wait a minute. Let me just take this in, okay? So if we want to purify the energies in a shopping mall, we need to have conquered the same energy inside us. You want to purify the energies in an outlet, such as this one, you need to be detached from material things, yet enjoying them. Understand this? If you have a passion to get rich and manifest $1 million, forget about purifying a mall. Forget it. Because you're not purifying negative energies. This entire thing about the incense and the sage and using Mahas and mantras and stuff to purify energies, no. You're purifying states of mind. Okay? So, to purify an area, you need the virtuous behavior of the equivalent sinful consciousness. And sinful is extremely judgmental. I'll speak of the beauty of sin afterwards. Beauty of sin. Yes? We'll speak about that eventually. Okay. So if there's anger somewhere, you need to master yourself in a state of peace. Not to get into anger, but you need something more. You need to practice forgiveness. Whenever someone wants to make you angry, or something could provoke you to become angry, you need to have compassion and immediately forgive someone else. if you have mastered forgiveness when anger should have exploded from you as a normal being, but now you're not angry because you mastered the experience of forgiveness, then you have a power over any type of anger consciousness. Conquer something inside, you conquer it outside. So I was at this place where there was this young 20-year-old lady stuck with the anger demon, and the bed going like this and all the movie type stuff was going on. And where usually other people would have been praying the Latin exorcist ritual for hours and maybe days, I just took a bit of incense, blessed the altar, set up a little altar, so happy. And I look into the eyes of this girl and I say, I love you so much, but you have to get out. Great state of happiness. And everything went blam, like this. Why do priests need to pray hours and days to create an exorcism? Look at this priest go. When he's going into his monastery, bitching at all the newbies that didn't do their work good, and all into these experiences of density, not understanding that a demon is not a force sent by evil. No, it's an experience of human normal behavior that densified into an autonomous entity that just tries to survive. Why? Because you guys tried to survive. So it got this straight. If you just say, you demon, creation from God, you cannot have been created by anything else. Thus, you are wonderful. Come in my heart. I love you. And I was giving this teaching to the nuns. You got this one. I can never ask Satan to come into my heart. Well, don't. I would. You see how much courage and faith it takes to face these kind of intense negative energy? Because you need to resolve the issues within and then stop believing they have power outside. Don't give him power. A demon has the power only in its range of area. If it's a sadness demon, if it's an anger demon, if it's a lust demon, a sensuality demon, they only have a range of effect in their area, and only when we did not conquer this inside. Okay? Breathe consciously. All right. So by processing your ego, by doing personal growth, you free yourself from your own animal impulse. Thus, you gain the power over outside animal impulse by doing the proper technique. Then we learn technique. First, we need to accept everything as we are. Okay? So now, we will learn a meditation that assists a bit in integration. And what this meditation does is, from this range of awareness, we will start to expand with no judgment, thus in a balanced way in both directions. And we will become aware of what we can face, what we have resolved, and what we can see. And if you start seeing ghosts, it's because you really want it, and you practice at developing the ability, or else, don't worry, it won't happen. This meditation we will learn, it is the non-death meditation of Shiva. Okay? It addresses death and natural forces in a way to be conscious. But it is non-death. Okay? We'll see about that. Okay? You're going to have nice, wonderful mantra, and you'll be chanting, and it'll be very peaceful, and you'll expand. You start just becoming aware. It will be wonderful. Because there will not be judgments. You will be expanding softly, progressively, and start to be more aware as self. Meaning that you will awaken. And whatever you become aware of in this meditation, it loses its power over you, which is quite interesting. But for this, you need to be humble. Have faith instead of fear. Acceptance instead of shame. Humility instead of pride. Develop these virtues, and everything will be wonderful in your life. There was a nice question.
Yes. Where did the energy go?
Oh, when you, let's say you ban a demon, okay? If it's an autonomous force, it will react according to the laws of nature. In this situation that I told, I was in a state of this range of frequency, okay? About there, of great happiness. So it did what nature does. The blob reacted and was shun away. And it went away according to its own somewhat will. It would be its own will, but its will is programmed by whatever made it to be. So it's also encased in the conditioning like we are as egos. Okay? If our radiance is stronger than just a light vibration that will not react, it will just dissolve it. Okay? Because this is heavenly fire that dissolves density, except when density is shielded against, and it will go away. It will be repelled by a natural force. Okay? So this is where it went. In this case, it just went off. In other cases, they're like, sometimes you have these energies, you just start praying and you get into a good state of mind, and because you are in a good state of mind, you're in a good state of self, and you radiate that around you, and then your house is purified. Because you are conscious and happy, and your house will be purified. So it's this energy that elevated, as opposed to other individual pockets of energy that fled away because they were strong enough to self-contain themselves. But it did hurt them. Okay. There was this guy, a French guy, a few months ago, that asked me to help him take away a possession, a demon inside. And it took me 4 months before I decided to go in there and do the deed. And he said, why? I said, well, if I just take this and pull, it's going to strip off a part of your emotional system. You're going to be emotionally handicapped for the rest of your life. Better leave it there and radiate. And radiate good loving energies, and we'll use up the shield. And at one time when I felt that the roots of this demon started to let go of this person, I went inside the demon. Like, you know, the Matrix, Neo goes into Mr. Shrimp, and just through conscious transmigration, that some of you understood that experiment last seminar or previous, I just went in there and exist in the highest pure state I could, and it just wham, blew up. So that was a completely dissolved demon. It didn't go away because I was inside. You couldn't fear. You couldn't fly away. You need to be very comfortable with yourself before you go dive into a demon. Don't try this, okay? I'm explaining to you how it works. When you know that you are indestructible as a self, what do you care? Just go there, wow! Gloriously celebrating the beauty of creation inside a demon's heart. And it kind of whack, blows up like the sun. But I did something yesterday with Corey. Well, she was just fixing in my eyes. I was just sitting there, waiting. And she stopped seeing me. Like there was a black outline. At the moment I did something, I was changing states of consciousness every minute or so, just as she would perceive differently because she perceived other planes. And at the moment she went like this, because I went all black. What did I do to become all black? I was going there and it, whoa, like this. And she, just on the line, okay? I got into a state of mind calling that we call Maha, a great blazing sun of divine states of consciousness. It's not energy, it's not light, fire, it's just very high state of consciousness. It just went black, okay? Too hard to face the sun directly. okay, and then got back to normal state of being, and she started to see other cool stuff that she'll describe one day to you. Anyway, so these are different experiences, okay? I'm just trying to inspire. Is there any other question?
The demons that you're talking about are souls of people. Are those the same thing like you hear about in the
No.
Bible?
No. Devils and demons, difference. There are a lot of events that we will consider a negative force that is not autonomous. It's a wave, a mass. So we'll say negative energy. Sometimes, and it just roams around, and if you have faith and a goodwill, it will just go away, okay? There are these masses of energy that agglomerate because of gravity. It will just be attracted to itself, and it creates a mass that becomes autonomous and somewhat self-conscious. It's still just a drone in nature operating its software, but it's autonomous, okay? So we describe demons and devils, okay? There's a difference between a demon or a daimon and the holy demons, okay? From that they say in the Bible, okay, with the wings of fallen angels. The demonic forces that are equivalent to angelic forces are not evil. They operate. They do what they're told, okay? So at every level of consciousness, there is a natural mechanical force that we will call angel or demon, depending on if it's higher than nature or lower than nature. But it's just resource management, okay? So Beelzebub just manages experiences of lust at this level for those who are stuck in there. He operates, okay? He's like a blue collar, okay? Doing his deed. Same as Michael and Gabriel and stuff, Michael, Gabriel, just doing what they have to do because it's how they are. It's built into their nature, which is not the same thing as a pocket identity of anger that roams around because it's free to do it. But this anger, we'll say it comes from Baal, we'll say it comes from Mephistopheles, if it's, you know, those who are convinced they have the truth and they are in a very dominating power, we say it comes from dragon Mephistopheles, because this is the mechanical force, demonic equivalent mechanical forces that manage the supremacy of the intellect over the soul. And we call this Mephistopheles. It's the name we just gave it, okay? And there are reasons why they gave it, and we could expound on this later on, but you need to be a Kabbalist and very agile with the Hebrew alphabet to understand these components. So whoever wants to play with numbers, letters, maybe in 2 years, we'll take a time to just sit and talk about it. But right now, it's just to understand that you'll see very beautiful spots of light around you when you're a good person, especially if you're humble. And we'll say, these are angels sent by Michael. Okay, well, there are holy, elevated energies that roam next to you because of your attitude, and you attract them. Maybe you even created them and produced them. It's rare, but it happens that you give birth to an angel. In fact, you give birth to a very high energy that is self-conscious, because it is through self-consciousness that you became humble. And it exists at the realm of where Michael manages the resources, okay? So we'll say, okay, it's an angel sent by Michael. Actually, it's a mass of positive or high-level consciousness that became autonomous and started roaming around you, its creator, or it came from just heavenly light and densified around you because you were tuning into this type of experience. You like that because you see them. And we say it's an angel coming from Michael, okay? Well, Michael is one thing. It just manages everything that has to do with humility, okay? And it defeated Satan. Why? Remember Satan? STN means power of the world material, okay? So Satan are 3 Hebrew letters saying the supremacy of the material world. That's all it means. Nothing more. And Michael means who is God. It is humble enough to ask who is God. Mikael, who is God. Okay? Just little notions of why did the Hebrew call these angels and demons in this or that way? Because they represented states of being. If you are humble and available to question who is God, honestly hoping for a relationship with Him, you're blessed by Michael. No cross to do, no 11 prayers to this and that. Just be in the state of being. Naturally, Michael-type angels will just come to you after a very long time, but it will. Or you can do the technique and summon them. You can summon these beings. Okay? There's a way to do it. So if the names of angels and demons were given to actually different states of mind or levels of consciousness, but we start believing they were identities. We started believing that Michael was an individual being. Well, there is an individual being called Michael. It is the summed up consciousness of the same state of mind from which it is born. So you summon Michael, he comes, but it's the image of, it's the impression of, the embodiment of. Michael is undefined. It is a state of being that the entire universe is seeking to understand God. This is Michael. Okay? Gabriel is to be available enough to pray. Gabriel is the messenger. You know, the messenger that allows you to communicate with God. That's it. If you are concentrating on having a relationship with God, there is a place, a level close to nature where the entire universe is available to be in relationship with God. This is Gabriel. And if you summon Gabriel as an entity, it will come as an entity because this is how you summon it. Okay? If you don't summon the entity and stay available to be in relationship with God, you're just dancing with Gabriel, whatever you do. Okay? It's states of mind. It's states of being, of consciousness. And it is very difficult to grasp. This is the Occidental approach. Okay? Well, this is just how I see it after studying Hinduism, Christianism, Kabbalah, Taoism, and Buddhism. And there's one constant in everything. It always has to do with the state of your mind. So I guess, I said, well, yeah, there is one thing that is common to all this explanation. It has to do with the state of being. If someone is angry, he'll call Maha, let's say. But the guy, no. Shri Maha something, Hindu Lord said, no, it's not Baha his name. His name of anger is Asura something. Okay, and then you have this Taoist saying a Chinese name. And I mean, it's just, then it's just wording. Okay, it's just different words to speak of states of mind. Okay, but basically this is how the universe works, frequency-wise or conscious level-wise. Okay, from 1, like nothing, 1 to 10 here, nature, and then going back to non-1, non-9, non-8, non, okay, and 10 is just like in the middle. And they say that there's a positive 10 and a negative 10, the Sephirot, the Klifot, depending on your tradition. Doesn't matter.
So when they gather like on a building, like people talk about, oh, this place has like very high positive energy, or like a house is possessed. The house.
Yeah.
And they talk about the house. Why do they go there if there's no physical being that they're getting from?
Demons go where there is emotional mass to consume. So there was a murder there. There was an intense emotion that made it to be, we say, oh, there was a murder there at the same moment that the mother, I've seen this case of possession. Well, it's not a possession, it was vortex. It was a mother giving birth and dying, and the child had a lot of trouble in there, and it was done in a bed that had been a murder not so long before. So it was this intense thingamajig mix-up of energies. And what happened is that this bed would be cursed, because naturally everything at this level of consciousness despair. Okay, judging that murder following from a death after birth and the child feeling abandoned had emotions also. All of this together, and I understand this will be difficult to swallow, it's still lack of faith and accepting and forgiveness. Okay, it is natural to not be happy in these situations. I understand. But it is also natural to suffer, and it is natural not to be enlightened. Okay, so you might get to the point where you say, well, yes, it happened, now we should just forgive everything. What? Like all these evil things happening, you should just forgive it? Yeah, you should. Everyone involved should, including those who are dead. And I mean, go and convince them. You know? So, it made this bed, the mattress and the wooden structure, everything was a vortex of evil. Okay? And all that happened to create that was just a series of events of life. Okay? Yes?
I'm a negative person.
You're not a negative person. Oh, you're figuratively, I'm teasing you. Okay, so a negative person would attract negative people and negative energies. It's gravity and similarity. Okay? You like to hang out with those who look like you. Okay, it's natural. Does that answer your question? A negative focusing person always attracts these kind of beings. But
I was raised by Christianity to believe that the demons want to destroy those who are good. Therefore, they're attracted to people who are light.
that,
They want to grab them down.
well, there are two things I'd like to say about this. Consciousness and faith. Okay, well, the more people who are good, we say good, the more they are aware and conscious, so they become aware of these negative forces, so they start believing they're attacked. Because they just start to notice these forces, and they say, I'm attacked by a demon, because I did not see it before, and now I see it. Well, if you did not see it before, it's because you were not aware. Okay? So that's one thing when they say good people get attacked by demons, good people become aware that we're all in the same pot anyway. Okay? Second of all, those who attract demons are negative. Okay? And the demons, they cannot, a demonic force cannot go attack someone good that does not have a handle on it. So if you have a very good monk, very respectable priest, and you can say a demon cannot attack this guy, but he's got a perversion. His perversion is not masturbating. His perversion is trying to hide it because he has the shame, because his church said it was not good. Now, sexuality demon attack him. Okay? His perversion was his lack of understanding of accepting natural forces as they are. Why did he do that? Because he was conditioned, so it's not his fault, I agree, but regardless, he's got the condition. This great holy man will be affected by exactly what he still has to resolve inside him. Okay, that's also how karma works. We just attract these forces according to what we have inside, unresolved. Make sense? Okay? So, as you start to perceive and understand that all this is just flowing natural forces acting just as they were meant, well, the concept of good and evil is starting to fade away. It's not concept of good and evil, it's levels of consciousness, experiences of suffering and happiness that interact. You know? And just grow in consciousness without the judgment that there's something good or something bad about it. What happens to someone who takes away his life? Depends on the amount of denial. Someone who takes his own life in a state of refusal of his suffering, this person will be stuck there. Why? Let's say someone takes his life because he doesn't want to face a few facts in life. Okay? This person takes his life at 20 years. We see it common, 15 to 20 years. This is popular. Yes? So 20 years, and this person might have lived up to 80 years old. About. It's very approximative, but might have. Okay, according to his possibilities. Then this person will stay ghost form for 60 years. exactly in the state of suffering they wanted to avoid, waiting for the light to shine down and destroy the outer human shell. When the human is dead, it will be available to come back, but you cannot get a full identity to be reborn into a new body. It takes a pure soul with just the ego, but not the density of emotions and mind. Okay? You understand all this? There are exceptions on this. I've met a samurai that seppuku and reincarnated almost immediately. Why? That's because when he committed seppuku, this samurai was conscious that he was not going to evolve anymore, and he was conscious that he was causing suffering because of his role obeying to this emperor. Well, not directly to the emperor, but to someone that was obeying to the emperor. So in the chain of command, he had to go and punish an innocent villager once in a while to demonstrate the power of the emperor. And he said, no, I'm sacrificing my life. So the attitude was not denial, it was non-fear. It was completely facing, I'm going to die, because there will be less suffering. Or at least I will not be involving myself in that, and I will also act as a role model for others to say, we cannot endure that. So if the best samurai in an army start taking their life, leaving clearly displaying, because these Japanese, they don't leave a message, but you know why they do it. They kind of find a way to philosophize about it. So this guy, today is one of my students, so we had a little chat about this, it was fun. Completely sacrificed himself to give a message of the emergency of the problem. There was no denial. He did not have a big outer shell. Okay? Someone who does personal growth all of his life takes away his life in a moment of despair. Because of the personal growth attitude, even dead, he'll keep on doing personal growth. So the decay of the shell is quite fast compared to someone that just doesn't face life, doesn't accept himself, doesn't want to know about God, doesn't want to know shit about anything, just deny it. It's filled with shame, filled with pride, filled with everything that will just like hatred and lack of compassion and yearning for material goods, cannot have them, unhappy about the ex-girlfriend that left or whatever. I mean, just clogged with this and says, that's it, I'm over, schlick, schlick, and waits to die. Forget it. This person will stay there until the end of their contract. Because this is the natural amount of time it takes for divine light to shine down on them. Okay.
When you say stay there, you mean they stay where it's bound?
About here. Okay. Because they're still, it's not those who, like some take away their life and they're so in deep shit, like someone who Hitler took his own life because he didn't want to face everything else. Just somewhere in there. Okay? So he just combined everything. He didn't wait like 50 years to see if he would go to hell. He just sank in. Okay?
Are you referring to the soul? Because the human body's going to diminish.
Yes, of course. We're speaking of the ego, which is not only composed of the mental and emotional body. Physical body will go. Vital body will decay. Emotional body will decay long after. You know, sometimes you feel the presence of someone who's deceased. Okay? At other times, you have a feeling that they're there, but you don't feel presence. Okay? Presence is emotional body. Okay? Then it fades away after a year or two, or 10 years or 20, whatever, depending on the person. It's like if she was thinking about you. Mental body. And then you have this feeling, it's there. Consciousness, the soul. Okay. Until reincarnation, then eventually gone, he went away. See? So it depends on, like a father that dies but is very attached to his children, might wait for his children to evolve in life. And sometimes this girl will be speaking to her father for ages, and the father is just waiting for her to let go. Okay, nourishing the attachment. Okay, because you have an effect on everyone, has an effect on everyone. When someone dies, mourn. Okay, let go, accept, so that this energy that tries to go higher, so that it will. You won't be here pulling. No, stay in nature. I want you. I yearn for you. Okay, you're just gonna say, okay. While you're there, well, you're there, but mourn. Just mourn, and have a chat with the people. Those who can, like you. I mean, have a chat, but let go. Just let go. And you'll see some people die and they stay in a somewhat good state of happiness because this is their level of consciousness when they die. So what do you want to do? You want to get to a point where nothing will be shielding you from the truth when you die. It will be difficult because whatever you have not resolved will burn, but not enough to sink you back in nature. Then you go to heavens and don't reincarnate again. Okay? Usually you're enlightened. Not necessarily accomplished, but enlightened. And you see, Jesus said, died, stayed 3 days in hell. What happened? Did not have the body, was so available to the light, became conscious, but stayed conscious. And then, whoop, that's it. Right? Just for the time that like the solar winds of God were destroying whatever remained of his individuality as a human. Okay? And this is a painful process. Okay? Because you don't have a body to shield your divine light. We have a body now. People who have experienced an integration, you feel about 10% of your emotions. When you feel an emotion and it's painful, that's 10% of the intensity. If you do not have a physical body to shield you from the emotional signal, whoa. Okay? When you feel an emotion in a body, it is 10 times lighter than the emotion you feel when divine light is just going at it, directly to your emotional body. Okay? People with no experience in self-personal growth, they feel in their body 1% of the intensity of their emotional body. So imagine these guys, they feel 1% of their suffering and they can't handle it. They take away their life. They become 100% aware because there's nothing densifying the light of God before it touches them, such as having a body. Whoa!
Do we have moments where we feel that emotion more than 10%?
Yeah.
Are we connecting enough to feel?
Yeah, there's no rule, but usually you could go up to like 10, 20%, 30% to be fully available to an emotion while physically conscious in a physical body. You need to be close to full accomplishment of yourself. Okay? Someone who is more than enlightened, realized. Okay? There's awakening, step 1, enlightenment, step 3, full accomplishment, step 10. Okay? Well, it's beyond step when you're done with this step. Okay? So enlightenment is not the end. Okay? Enlightenment is just third step of an entire process. When you're enlightened, now you have tons of stuff to do because you're conscious and you really know what to do to go to progress. And there's a few students, I sent this text to Boomies, and Corey's telling me it was fun to read the description of what you do at each step of consciousness because you know what's left to do. Okay? But first, we need to become aware. To become aware, we have to do stuff, different stuff. One of the options is to let nature work. So maybe in 200-300 lifetimes, you'll get the hunch that you might be at peace. And then a few lifetimes after that, it might be cool to just become a saint. And then afterwards, after 1,000 lives, you stop coming back. Because you were just a good person. Okay? Natural forces will work. After 1,000 lifetimes, you also give yourself the chance that you'll have an incarnation that you'll be an asshole and sink. But if you sink there and come back, you won't become an asshole again. Like I said once as a joke, when Hitler comes out of hell, I want to be his best friend. This guy will never hurt someone again. Okay, you'll get it. I said, no, I don't know why, but I just feel like being peaceful right now. Okay, You're offering me to go to war? I got the bad feeling about that. Why? Because suffering gave him wisdom. Or give him, well, it actually is giving wisdom probably right now. Last time I checked. It's wonderful to be conscious of the hell plane. You know, I said to people, I walked in hell for 2 years. I was just aware. Oh, yeah, suffering. I understand that. That was great. Now I can draw this not because someone taught me, but from experience. No one taught me this. I got it from experience, believe me. No, don't believe me. I'm not credible. Maybe you try it and you'll see that it makes sense. Okay, trust yourself. Oops.